Hey everyone, I'm Mariana and let's talk about It. You'll float too. So It, of course, is the new adaptation of half of the famous Stephen King novel. It is directed by Andy Muschietti, whom you may remember from directing Mama. This movie covers the childhood portion of the It story. In the novel, it takes place in the 50s. In the movie, they moved it to the 80s, which is actually a change that I really liked. And that means that the other part of the story with the adults is going to happen in present day. Now, if you're somehow not familiar with what this is about, the story takes place in a small town in Maine where a group of kids start seeing some really weird stuff and face an encounter with a very creepy clown, Pennywise. Now, I think it's safe to say that this movie is a lot better than most of us expected it to be. I had so much fun watching it last night. It delivered with the characters, it delivered with the atmosphere, and of course, with Pennywise, the dancing clown. If either of these elements wasn't done right, the movie would have completely fallen apart because you need all three in order for this particular story to work, and I am so glad that they pulled it off. Let's talk about the kids first, because for me, that was the best part of the movie, and it was the part that I was looking forward to the most. I did struggle a little bit reading the novel, but when it came to character development, that was excellent, and this movie accomplishes the group dynamic and the character development so well. The Losers Club is just as it was meant to be, and it was such a pleasure to watch all of these kid actors really deliver great performances too. Often when you see kids on screen, you have to give their performances that discount of this was really good for a child performance. You don't need to do that with this movie because this group of young actors is just excellent. They are exactly what they needed to be, and I am so happy that they nailed the group dynamic. They nailed how these kids would normally interact. They have some hysterical dialogue. I didn't actually expect it to be as funny as it ended up being, but I am so glad that that's what it was. They swear all the time. They say things they don't really understand the meaning of. They try to use words they don't know. It's just perfect. I loved it, and the Losers Club is just a huge win for it. Also, this movie would not have worked if they did not nail Pennywise, and they certainly did because Bill Skarsgård does a fantastic job as Pennywise the dancing clown. He's creepy when he needs to be, he's scary when he needs to be, he's kind of silly at times, which makes it even creepier. He seems like a legitimate clown gone wrong. I haven't seen the original Tim Curry made-for-TV movie, but from the clips that I've seen, Tim Curry seems like this really messed up guy that is for some reason wearing clown makeup because he thinks that's how he's going to get to kids, and that is terrifying. Tim Curry seems terrifying in the clips that I've seen, but Bill Skarsgård takes a slightly different approach to the character. It's a bit more of a clown that used to be an actual clown that has just gone off the rails, and that is a very interesting way to do it too. The only thing that didn't quite work for me with Pennywise is that they did a lot of that fast movement coming right at your face with a lot of quick cuts and some loud music. They show that in the trailer, and there is more than one time when that happens, and I just felt like that was not necessarily something the movie needed. I thought he was much creepier when he was just kind of lurking or showing up randomly, but not when he was doing that whole I'm coming at you really fast thing. As I mentioned earlier, the atmosphere is really good as well. They really created a sense of place with Derry, Maine, but when it needed to get ominous, it definitely got ominous. And I loved the creepy house. That was just great. The sewers look very dirty and disturbing. I would not go into those sewers. And of course, the opening scene is incredibly effective, which, by the way, I am so glad that they kept a lot lot of the brutal stuff from the book. I was a little concerned that they were gonna cut this down, but no, they decided to stick to the R rating with the swearing and with the gore. And when you have to watch the little kid get mutilated, you're gonna watch him get mutilated, and that is very effective. They probably could have gone even further with that, and I think when they do the adult portion of the story, they may actually go even more violent. But as far as this particular movie goes, I am so glad they kept the gore and the gross factor in. The leper from the novel terrified me. I think, to me, I'm not really that scared of clowns, but the leper portion was just I just couldn't handle it when I was reading it, and he was pretty damn gross in the movie as well, which is great. They did make some changes to the story, which I'm obviously not going to get into because of spoilers, but I think most of them worked. I am not somebody who needs the movie adaptation to be perfectly matching the source material. I think as long as the movie captures the atmosphere and the essence of the characters and the essence and the message of the story, it works. You can do changes as long as they make sense, and the vast majority of the changes to it made sense. The only thing that I was kind of iffy on is the Henry Bowers storyline and how they dealt with that. He's the main bully, if you don't remember the name. I think a lot of that worked as well, but then they did something through that storyline that I was not 100% sold on. Now, here's something a lot of you may be wondering about. Is this movie scary? And I don't think there's a definite answer to that. I think some people are going to be absolutely terrified, especially if you're uncomfortable with clowns. I don't have that problem. I am most scared of that leper that I mentioned, but Pennywise himself creeps me out, but really he doesn't terrify me. But this movie did have some good scares, I'm not going to lie. But overall, I 100% recommend going to see it in theaters. It is a very solid film. I cannot wait for them to do the adult portion of the story. I'm very interested in what they do with that. But as far as this half goes, which I am glad, by the way, that they separated the two, because the book keeps switching between the adult and the childhood, and it's just a little bit jarring. I would have preferred it to be separated. As far as a rating goes, I would give it 4 out of 5 stars. Very solid 4 out of 5. I may bring it up on a repeat viewing, and I would definitely see it again. I did think it was a little bit too long. It is somewhere around 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is a while, and I thought they could have tightened things up a little bit more, but I can't really complain about it too much because there are so many things to enjoy about it. You have great characters, you have great atmosphere, it looks beautiful, you have awesome dialogue, and you have a pretty entertaining but also pretty creepy villain. So please go see it. Don't wait for it to be on streaming or anything like that, because this movie is worth seeing on the big screen. That's it for my review of it. Let me know what you guys thought of the movie if you've seen it already, and how do you feel about the Tim Curry version versus this one? Which one do you like more? Which one do you think works better as an adaptation? I obviously don't know about the Tim Curry version because I haven't seen it, but as far as adapting books to movies goes, this was a really good adaptation, aside from just being a really good movie. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye!